Yo, what's up, guys? So today we're going to be taking a look at the MandinoSpright deck against some of the current meta decks post ban list. So first up, we're facing up against Castera. So I just skipped the combo because I'm pretty sure you've seen Castera combos before. So going second against Castera in game 1, basically your best play is to try to go into Zeus and wipe their field. That's because the Castera deck doesn't actually have much disruption if you don't do anything, because most of the time a Rise Heart will only have one material. So basically, if you're able to make a rank 2 monster without sending any cards to the graveyard and without activating any effects, then that will allow you to freely attack and then make a 4 material Zeus. So I edited the deck in order to be able to summon a level 2 monster without my normal summon and without activating any effects. And then obviously the sprites are level 2s and they can summon themselves freely. So there we attack for game. Right, so this is another game against Castera. So we're going to use the same strategy. This field is slightly weaker than the one before, but Rise Heart is still a threat. But this time he actually has 3 materials because they hard made him. This makes it a bit more difficult to play into. So what we have to do in this case is we have to make a Herald of the Arc Light. So that'll allow us to summon a rank 2 and then use Herald's effect to protect it from being banished. Alright, so here we attack, they don't do anything. Right, so here we summon Downer, they try to activate, so we negate and we can't destroy it because of Goliath. And then we make Zeus and then we wipe their field. So here they got really lucky and they top deck Birth, which means they can actually play around Zeus. So here we maybe we misplayed. I think if we wipe Unicorn, we could have maybe avoided them adding Theosis, but I think they do have access to Fenrir, so maybe it didn't matter that much. So here basically we have nothing, no interruptions. We didn't draw into any hand traps, so unlucky for us. Right, so then they make the boy and then they set the trap card. So draw phase, they summon back a Rise Heart. It's got no materials, but I don't think we have that many threatening plays for them. Here we can make a level 8 Synchro, but we don't really have, we can't get any level 2s into the graveyard. So Exile Stardust will not be able to sync into a level 10 Synchro. So here we're just trying to see if we can get something going. Going for Visas, destroying Birth. Right, so here they chain a Rise Heart to get rid of our Light Heart. We negate it, but all we can do now is make a level 8 Synchro. But we don't have anything that's actually threatening to them, so we just lose. Right, so this is the third game against Castera. Right, so here they start with Shifter, but judging from the hand, they will not be able to make much. So in this case, it's obviously going to be GG because we have a loaded hand and they basically have nothing. So they summon back a Unicorn and a Fenrir, but those cards aren't threats if we don't activate any effects. So we're not going to activate any effects. We're not going to use our normal summon. We're just going to attack and then we're going to go into Zeus. Right, so here they have an impermanence, but we have full materials. So we can activate twice and then we can wipe the field. Right, so here we have free reign to do our combos. And we're just going to combo off. Oh, we're not going to combo off. So here we're just praying that they don't actually have anything. So what happened there is Baby Cerosaurus has to be sent to the graveyard after being destroyed. So since Shifter was active, we couldn't trigger its effect, which is unlucky, but it's alright. So here we try to go for the window play. Right, so they top deck nothing, and then it's GG. So the next matchup is against Mathmic. Now Mathmic only lost 2 circular, which would seem like a very big hit, but they got the firewall cards in the recent set, so they can still consistently go for their plays, and the firewall cards allow them to actually go for the full firewall link 5 play with only 1 card. Right, so they do their full combo. Right, so now it's our turn. So they have Ash and Roll in hand, which is not good, but we'll see if we can play through it. Right, super factorial. So we try to banish, and then they counter with the firewall fusion. Alright, so we're losing 2 cards and they have a negate. But we're still in this. Make cross sheep, right? Make a shroud. Attempt to destroy firewall, they negate. But we can still resolve cross sheep. We make Baron. Right, now we can blow up the firewall. They chain, but that card has to trigger after the chain, so it's too late. Get rid of the XYZ, attack directly. And now we see if they have anything. Right, so they top deck something good. Right, so they revive a Mathmic. So here it's obviously game, because whatever they try to activate will just negate and destroy. Right, so we negate and destroy transcode, and that's GG. Right, so the next match is against Purely. Now Purely also lost. They actually lost a lot of consistency because they can't guarantee that they get Delicious, but they can still make Noir, although it does take a lot more resources for them, so they will have to work harder to get to it. But this game was actually really impressive. So they are able to make Noir here and then some. So they're able to go full combo, and then we're going to try and play through that. But unlike Cashtera, they actually have some interaction in the main phase, even if we don't activate anything. So that makes it a lot harder to play through. But one thing you can do against Purely if they have Noir is you can just keep on summoning your level 2 monsters, because we can easily put about 4 of them on board, and then once you have 4 on board, if they don't use their Noir effect to spin multiple copies, then you can just use Noir and your 4 monsters to go into Goddess, the rank 5 Goddess. So there we lose. We've got nothing against that. Alright, so this is another game and we're going second again. So one other thing is that they're a lot more vulnerable to disruption now. So if you disrupt them early, it's highly unlikely that they'll be able to get anything going. So here we don't have any interaction, but they missed on MandinoSpright, so they're not able to make anything good at all. So they're just gonna pass on basically nothing, and our hand is loaded and they only have Ash in hand, so this is definitely GG. So Purely still has its power, but I think the consistency hit was a bit too big. What I think Konami should have done is they should have just limited Noir so that it hurts their grind game, so that if you get rid of the one Noir, they'd have to recycle it if they want to summon another one. Or maybe they could have done something like limit Plump, or they could have just not hit the deck at all, because the deck is fairly new and I don't think it was that much of a problem. Yeah, I found it interesting that Konami decided to hit second, third and fourth best decks respectively. I think Mathmic got the lightest hit, and then purely got the heaviest hit, I think. Alright, so here they try to get something going. This time we have an impermanence. We're going to stop them early so that they don't gain any momentum. Alright, so that's a normal summon, so we can target it. 100% targeting. Right, go for princess. They miss again. So this is GG. They have troll in hand. So, but we have a handful of monsters, so we can still make plays. So it's all good. One thing I've had to do with this deck was I had to reduce the number of search cards and just replace them with monsters. So essentially, most hands will only have like one search card, but the search is going to be something significant. So one search card, search. If they draw, it's fine. You have 6 monsters in hand, so you can just combo off anyway. Alright, so that was GG. So this is a combo showcasing how to play through draw. Alright, so here all we can do is make Baron. So second combo. So before I had taken out Riam Heart because I was focusing mostly on the level 2s and the sprite monsters. But after playtesting, I realized that Riam Heart is better than Abscission and the field spell against draw, at least, because if you summon Riam Heart and you search a monster, if they draw you, you still have 2 monsters to combo with. So that's much better than adding 1 card with the field spell and then getting drawed. Right, so here we rub 2 cards with Omega and we still have the Spater. So that's very good. So the best way this deck can actually play around draw is to make an early Herald of the Arclight, which is why we actually play 3 copies of the level 2 Dino Wrestler Tuner, because we want to make Herald. When Herald is on the field, they cannot send any cards from the deck or the hand to the graveyard to pay full cost, so they are unable to activate Droll and Lockbird. They can still Ash Blossom, but I think that's the only hand trap they can use. Only low level hand trap, I think. Right, so here we made the Herald and we have our full combo. They have Droll in hand, but they can't activate the Droll because of Herald. Right, so we've summoned back, we have the Spater. Right, summon back Visas, go for Omega. Can only rip 1 card this time. Summon back Lightheart, go into Baron with the Herald because we don't need it anymore. And then we go into the link for Unchained Abomination. Alright, so those are the combos. So let me quickly show you the deck list. Alright, so this is the deck list. I've changed it since the last one, but we're still playing 3 copies of Visa Starfrost, only 1 Xeno Meteorus, and then we've added the 3 copies of Riam Heart because it's one of the best searches when you're playing into Droll and Lockbird. As I mentioned before, you normal summon him and then you add a tuner. If they draw you, you have 2 cards to combo off with, so it's all good. The 1 Reichheart, Ash Blossom, 3 copies of Sprite Jet. So we were playing 1 copy before, but I decided to add more copies because we need more monsters that actually do something after you summon them. Because the tuners are nice, but once you put them on the field, they don't actually gain any advantage. So something like Jet is very important in that respect. The 1 copy of red, triple blue, 1 carrot, and then we have Hop Ear Squadron. So Hop Ear Squadron is what you can search off of Cupid Pitch, and you can actually use Hop Ear Squadron to synchro summon Chaos Angel during your opponent's turn. So something like that can allow you to play around, for example, Dark Ruler no more, or you could do something like go into Herald of the Arclight by chaining to like a card effect that sends to the graveyard. So that's a nice play you can go into with him. And then we play 3 copies of Dino Wrestler Coalescelat. I think in the last deck list we're only playing 1 copy of him, but like I mentioned before, we really want to go into a rank 2 monster or a level 4 synchro monster without activating any effects, and preferably without using our normal summons, mainly because of something like Cash Terror. It's very important, which is why we're playing 3 copies of him, and then we're playing 3 copies of Meek, and then only 1 copy of Obsession because it's really weak against Jordan Lockbird, and you don't want to lose because you were drolled. You know, you activated Obsession and then you added the field spell and then you got drolled. So it makes adding the field spell kind of useless in that situation. So only the 1 copy, because its graveyard effect is still important. And then 3 copies of Ground Zeno, 1 Arrival, the 1 Sprite Starter. It's still okay at this point. You only activate it after you've done your other plays anyway, or you'd search for it, so 1 is fine. Call by the Grave to negate Troll, Sprite Smashers, Right Phobia. I was playing more than 1 copy because it can help you destroy floodgates, especially going second, because you don't need like on-field effects to summon your monsters, and you can just summon your level 2s in defense mode. It's very easy to put 3 of them on board, and then you could use its effect to destroy something like Skill Drain. But Jordan Lockbird is everywhere, so we just reduced it to 1 copy. If you like, you could instead of playing 2 Calarium, play 2 copies of Reichphobia, just to deal with floodgates. And also, it's actually better going second than Calarium, because you're most likely doing the same thing with both of them anyways, which is adding Visa's Starfrost most of the time. So I think 3 in total is fine. You can do 2 and 1. Yeah, I think doing 2 and 1 is fine. You could replace the second one of these with the second Reichphobia. And then 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. We weren't playing Infinite Impermanence before, but we really want to negate Arise Heart so that our cards don't get banished. You don't really care about Fenrir and Unicorn. You can play into those cards. Doesn't matter. They're most likely just going to banish Zeus, but then you can just go for your Synchros and then, just finesse them. So in the extra deck, 3 copies of Astrolaud, 1 copy of Astrolaud, Dissipator, Chaos Angel, very important. If you use a dark monster to summon him, you can actually prevent your Herald from being destroyed in battle, which does come up. Then we have Baron, we have Omega to recycle our banished cards or to loop 2 cards out of their hand. It's one of the better plays in game 2 going first, because opponents like to side cards like Kaijus and Lava Golems, etc. So if you just take 2 cards out of their hand with Omega, even if you don't snipe those cards, if you hit engine cards, then it makes their decks less consistent. Exile Synchro Stardust Dragon, the Herald, the Cupid Pitch. Then we have Zeus and Downed Magician. One thing I did notice playing against Cash Terror is that sometimes if they prepare properly, they can make a comeback after you wipe their field. So we're able to make Zeus on the first turn using a rank 2, but on our second turn we can make Zeus again. So one thing you could do is you could side in a second copy of each of these if you know you're going second against Cash Terror. I think I'd prefer to go second against Cash Terror, to be honest with you. It's just much easier to beat them going second than going first, I think, because going first they could slap you with a couple of hand traps or board breakers, but like going second, I think they might only have floodgates, but you can prepare properly, and most of the time they won't expect you to make them go first. So I think that's a viable strategy against them. And then we have Soul Sweeper. So I was going back and forth between Soul Sweeper and Sky Cavalry, and I think Soul Sweeper is slightly better because you can remove a monster before you attack. So we've added Soul Sweeper. And then we have Gigantic, 1 copy, Unchained Abomination. So I was playing this over the Appaloosa because it's just much better against Kashtira than Appaloosa. They can easily get rid of the Appaloosa. So what you could do is you could side the Appaloosa. I really like siding extra deck monsters instead of just siding a bunch of main deck cards. I think it's just more strategic, to be honest. And then we have the 1 copy of Cross Sheep, and then we have the 1 Lightheart. So this side deck is mostly just options you can go for. You can search for Drone and Lockbird fairly easily with a 2-card combo, which is an option game 2 and game 3. If you know your opponent loses to Drone and Lockbird, you could just side in Tour Guide and Sangan, and then you can do the combo that searches for Drone and Lockbird and leaves you with a Baron negate and a Carrot or Red negate if you want. So that's viable going game 2 and game 3. And then we have Gale Dogra here. So in the replays, I was playing Gale Dogra in the main, but I play tested a lot against Kashtira, and going second, it really doesn't do that much. Really doesn't do that much. You can still lock them out of the game with Winder, and then you can banish whatever monster they summoned with Smashers. But I think it's much better in the side deck against certain decks instead of in the main. The 3 Drolls, we have the Shadal package in here, and then this guy, he's very, very good. We can easily make a level 8 Synchro without activating any on-field effects. So we can make him, and if he's destroyed, so even if he gets banished, if he's destroyed, you destroy all face-up cards your opponent controls. So he's very, very important against back row decks and decks that play Floodgates. So game 2 and 3, I'd swap out an Omega and then put in this guy so that he can destroy Floodgates against trap decks like Labyrinth, Eldritch, etc. Right, we've got the Appaloosa, and then we've got the IP Masquerena. Yeah, this is just an option if you go into the Tour Guide play to search for Drone and Lockbird. And then we have D-Barrier, Rook, and then since we're playing Riemhard again, we can also play Vanadium Reframing just to negate things like Dark Ruler No More. So this side deck is mainly just your options. You can pick and choose whatever strategy you feel is best. But I really, really like the Shadal engine in here. You swap out 2 cards in the extra deck and then 2 cards in the main deck, and then it beats certain decks on its own. Yeah, it makes it really hard for them to actually counter your deck. Right, so that's it for the deck list. I hope you enjoyed the video, enjoyed the replays, enjoyed the explanation. Please leave a like, please subscribe, and if you have any suggestions, you can write a comment or you could shoot me a message. I've got my Facebook links as well, Twitter links. So if you have any suggestions, please feel free to make them. Or if you have any requests for decks you'd like to see on the channel, I'll take that as well. So until next time, see ya.